Got a friend in Santiago, got a friend in Berlin, got a friend 100 miles away, who's as close as my hand. Distance couldn't keep us apart because we're one man with one heart.
You're watching Cobb TV Live, and this program is designed for everybody and everything, and also for the Learning Center students, and anybody who happens to be tripping across the web and stumbled on here. And I'd like you to know that we would really appreciate your nice comments and your real questions. And if you sign in, if you there's a thing on the Kabbalah channel. If you look down below the player, you'll see that there's a thing that says join the conversation. Now, if you actually do sign up to join the conversation, then you get a bunch of different interfaces that allow you to ask a question, make a comment, and even send a video clip that we can play on the air, as long as you're nice and not nasty. And maybe even if you're nasty, because if you're nasty in an interesting way, no, please don't. In the Learning Center, the people in the fundamentals curriculum have just completed the last class in the structure of the worlds part of the study. And I'm sure it was a very interesting ride, very different thing to try to feel all of these things inside that are how we're built, a kind of map of our desires and emotions. Why is it important to do that? Well, the Kabbalists tell us that it's important to do this because it gives us a kind of a framework for where we are going. We didn't just get dropped into this world for no reason. There's a purpose to life. And the purpose to life is that we should develop and become like that force that's developing us. Now, in order to do that, and like anything that we've ever learned, we need to be able to think about and have some idea about our next better state, the place that we're going, whether it's a physical place, which in fact it really isn't, or whether it is a quality inside of us. Now, all of the people who've been studying together in this course have finally arrived, after seeing what the structure is from that first thought of creation, to create a creature and fill it with utter delight, completely fulfill it with goodness. You've seen how, on the part of bestowal, of the universal law of love, which is the primary law of the universe, of all existence, how it made a way in which we could be brought down to a place of perception of ourselves as separate and apart. You've tracked that whole place down the map so that you have some kind of an idea now of what it is you have to move through so that you can attain this quality of love and connection voluntarily. And that place that we've arrived at, that halfway point of creation, that's called the creation of Adam. Now, of course, we've got all kinds of ideas about what that is. If you take the biblical narrative, the way that we learned it as children, and the way that the world continues to explain it, and the way that the atheists rightly mock, because that, of course, is not at all the story, the physical story of where we are. It's something else entirely. If you take it that way, there's not much to it. You might as well get on, say, maybe to an interesting movie or something. But if we understand from the efforts that we put into these lessons that it really is talking about something fabulously, wonderfully different than where we are, that the second part, the completion of creation, the part of it that's up to us, this is a whole different story than the story that brought us down to where we are, or even what we experience here at this level. What is this atom? Mike said the atom is a kli with a masach. That is, it is a human level. It is a desire with an intention to receive only in order to bestow. Well, what is that? What was actually created in that moment that we can call atom? The Kabbalists tell us that there are only two things in creation. There is only the creator, that is that force of love, and there is only the creature, that opposite quality, and the relationship between the two. And because that actually is so, and it's not really just a story for us anymore, because we're beginning to see this really is what's happening. This is really the truth. Maybe before that we thought of it as a nice idea, a pretty philosophy, but it's quite evident in everything that's occurring now that this actually is so. That we really are, we can't move something here without it affecting something over here. That is, everything is completely interconnected, that butterfly effect. We see it and it seems interesting and fascinating and, somewhat magical. But it really is only there because that is what we are. We are one thing, one creature, that is one quality and one desire against another one. Why? For the purpose of attaining that other quality in a voluntary way. And because of that, it makes our lives now appear a very different way. It makes our lives appear to be undergoing a huge change. And that change appears to have us in a kind of an interlocked situation. Dr. Lightman talks about it as cogwheels, that there's no independent movement in the system. Every movement affects every other movement. That's not because it was imposed on us, it's because that's what we are. And if we are going to relate with each other in a loving way, in a thoughtful way, then we have to take that into account. We have to learn how to go to that next better state of relating to each other in an interlocked way, in an embrace, and not in a sensation of duress. And there's a whole new way of looking at our life and what needs to happen in the way we proceed. Cobb TV. Watch your life make sense. In the human system, our desires, thoughts, and actions inescapably influence each other. This law connects every individual at every level at all times. Any interaction is an expression of this law. When an individual is focused on self-interest, it forces others to do the same, creating conflicts within the system. These conflicts are amplified at the global level. Interconnection is a constant, but man's attitude can change. Changing the attitude from self-concern to global concern affects the whole system positively. And ensures its survival. This is the law of interdependency.
But at the end of the day, we all have bigger problems, right?
We've got a message. That's the message announcement music. We have a message from Kevin from the Netherlands. And he says, "It's great that this channel is up and running. Let's unite together and find out what's real. Unity for all." Thank you, Kevin. We also have a question, a submitted video question. Let's take a look at that.
Hello, Tony. It's Jeffrey from Newfoundland. I was just wondering, we have 7 billion people in the world right now, about 7 billion, getting close to it, I guess. But different cultures, different ways, and we have to reach 7 billion people and integrate them into one common soul, like Adam Hassan at the beginning of 6,000 years was one, divided, and then now there's 7 billion parts. How does the wisdom of Kabbalah do that? I mean, I think we have to do it, but it seems like a big task. Thank you.
I don't know if you could make out the question clearly. I'll repeat what I understood of it. He's asking, there are 7 billion people in the world, and all of those 7 billion people are really part of this one creature. So if we're going to join this creature back together, how does the wisdom of Kabbalah propose that this can happen? He says, I think it has to happen, but how can it happen? Well, there's a method actually for this, and I know that's Jeffrey from Newfoundland. So Jeffrey knows something about this method, but when you start looking at the physical level of things, and you try to stand up based on your own strength of your own desire and thinking, well, how is it possible that no matter how much I want this, how could 7 billion people possibly be convinced to take a certain step? But that's 7 billion is only the appearance of something. 7 billion is that degree of our lack of agreement within ourselves, within a single person, as to whether or not we really want this. The number of people that we see in the world is really just the quality, the intensity of egoism within the creature itself. It's not something that we have to go to each person and say, you must learn this, you must do this, you have to study Kabbalah. That's not what it is. It's a quality that we have to work on within ourselves. And we have to work on it on an intense degree. But it doesn't take everybody. Not everybody has to do it, because we are structured, the Kabbalists tell us, and the books, the sources tell us, that we are structured as a single organism. And an organism has an organization to it. It's sort of like a pyramid in which there's an organ of, say, thought, like the brain, that is the smallest portion. The most evolved portion of it is the part that directs the rest of it. What that small portion, whose job is the direction of the creature as a whole. Now, somebody else may have some other desire has got to do with another portion. It may be like the hand portion, or it could be the toenail portion. And I'm not meaning to say that we're one great big, huge, cosmic man walking or floating, whatever a cosmic man does. Simply to say that we're organized. Nature organizes everything that way. So if the part that's awakened truly wants to do that and puts the whole brain together, and there's a limited number of brain cells together, that is, has this quality within a group, even at that smallest level of the awakened part of the system, then everything starts to turn over. Everything starts to change. Now, everybody is in this Adam HaRishon, in this collective. We're all part of it, but we're reacting to it in different ways depending on what our desire is and how we're awakened. Give you an example. Let's take the sound out of here. This is from Russian television. This is in this city, in Toronto, 2 days ago. See, oh, you know, they really got some great shots here. I think they like this shot because there's red flags in it. But I want to tell you that this is, you see something like this only because of the long lens that they're using. This was our director, Andrew, was down there also shooting some stuff, and he said most of the people down there were also shooting stuff. It was kind of like if you go to Universal Studios, this is the set for the protests. It's a single police car burning here. Now, yeah, doesn't that look huge? But the fact is that everybody here is moved by a desire. They're all connected. Look at the huge number of them. The thing that we're responding to here is this sensation of globalization, which we spoke about before. Now, that's one type of a reaction, and it is a kind of a global reaction because we are a single collective soul. Now, here's another sort of reaction to precisely the same sort of impulse, but from a different point of view in a different part of the organization of the collective soul. These are a bunch of people in the Galilee who are getting together in order to celebrate their connection to each other. They don't. A lot of these people are meeting each other for the first time. They are not religious. They're secular people, and what they are doing is they are engaging consciously in what you could call globalization. They're using that point in their heart. Now, only these people and people who have a similar desire as this need to be doing this at the moment. And this will turn over everything, actually, in the world. This is actually the antithesis and the balance of this protest that's going on, that was going on in Toronto right now. And this is really the only thing that has to happen, because there's nothing stronger than this, because this is actually connected to the truth of what we are and how we're going to get to that next state that we want to go to. And this has got nothing to do with where we're going. It has only to do with trying to understand ourselves from where we have been, how we've evolved over the many, many millennia while we were only developing the will to receive. And this is the outcome of the will to receive. You can't get anything other than that. We've sort of used up the entire process. That's what's left, and it gets worse than that. And this, on the other hand, it gets better than this, because from the kind of love and connection, sincere work at trying to make a reality that desire in the heart by sharing it with other people, as a result of that, a completely new world is built. Sound up.
We're all connected to each other biologically, to the earth chemically, to the rest of the universe atomically.
I think nature's imagination is so much greater than man's. He's never gonna let us relax.
We live in an in-between universe where things change alright, but according to patterns, rules, or as we call them, laws of nature.
I'm this guy standing on a planet. Really, I'm just a speck. I'm just a speck compared with a star. The planet is just another speck. To think about all of this, to think about the vast emptiness of space. There's billions and billions of stars, billions and billions of specks.
The beauty of a living thing is not the atoms that go into it, but the way those atoms are put together. cosmos is also within us. We're made of star stuff. We are away from the cosmos and know itself.
Across the sea of space, the stars are of their sun. We've traveled this way before, and there is much to be learned.
We're all connected to each other biologically, to the earth chemically, to the rest of the universe atomically.
Find it elevating and exhilarating.
We're all connected, but not simply in the way that science speaks about us being connected, because the connections that we see here in this world are really only branches of a connection that exists already for us on a completely other level, on the causative level of things. The causative level is in the level of desire. And the beautiful amusement park of the physical universe, of course, reflects those things. But in order to change anything in this amusement park, it has to be done from the level that builds it, that changes it, that makes it be that way. And it's only change in desire that makes the apparent connection of physicality become something much greater that can really change the experience that we have here in our lives and with each other. It's a much higher thing. And this is the kind of thing that we need to reach in our connection with each other, in our hearts with each other. And that is basically what the wisdom of Kabbalah deals with. That's why we're learning this. And of course, there's much to it. I mean, there is. It's not just that we want it. You know, I'm kind of being a cheerleader for this this quality, but there is a method to it, and there's a process to it. The people in the Learning Center, you know, you've begun this process. Nothing happens immediately. I mean, certain things do change in a person. I say there's like 5 things that really turn over in a person's perception, and you begin to see things really differently. But there is a process that brings a person fully into this. And there are things that we have to go through in exactly the same way that we've gone through things in our physical life in the past. And the method teaches us all of that. And the one most important thing that it teaches us is something that is not taught anywhere else, and that is how to actually achieve this love and what that love really is. And this is something that is totally worth the effort. Totally worth the effort. We got a couple of other questions here. Let's see what we got. Oh, I need the sound. Let me cue that up again.
Excuse me.
That's good.
Does the collective soul atom and the particles go through the same phases of correction simultaneously or separately at different times? Thank you.
Do we undergo all of these changes? If we're all part of the same soul, do we undergo all of these changes simultaneously or in different ways? We do go through it as a generation. We go through all of it together, but the way in which it's experienced in a person and what particular phase a person is in, what kind of correction is occurring inside of a person, that's different. It's like different levels on an equalizer or something. You want a little bit more of this frequency, a little bit less of that one. Everybody is built in a unique way. We go through it collectively. This is the most important part. Where we need to go, what we've called spirituality, it's not something that an individual does. You can only say it's individual if you think of the entire collective of life as being the individual. We're past that. We are ready now to do it collectively, to acknowledge the connection between, it doesn't matter what your race is, it doesn't matter what your gender is, it doesn't matter what religion you learned, it doesn't matter what your color of your skin, it doesn't matter. It's not physical, not at all. Those are just aspects, layers of our desire to receive for ourselves. The vastness of the universe is just, I need my space. From what? From every other person in the world. I want to feel completely so far away from that aspect of love and giving that I like to be a speck in the middle of nowhere. This is the turning point, okay? We're at that turning point, and the single creature now wants to do away with this physical separation, with this emotional separation. We're not going to do it as an individual. You don't enter spirituality as an individual, only as a collective. That's why the environment, the connection to other people, and we all hate that because we're all loners. We were created that way by nature so that we would be able to attain this on our own. We're now at that sort of, we're at that turning point. A couple of texts we have here. What have we got? Someone is asking, Jody from Seattle, how can we work in 3 lines while we're in the preparation period? Well, we can't. That 3 lines is something that happens once we are really have an awareness, a heightened awareness of the interaction with this quality of bestowal. Then we can do that, but we can't do that at the beginning. We have a question from Florida. If all the collective souls, those are presented to me in corporality as the other friends in the group, if I connect with them, I'm attempting to rebuild the original soul? Well, what you're attempting to do has got to do with what you want. But the fact that a person begins to sense their connection with others, not just as a passing thought or something interesting, but if it compels a person to try to find out how they can change themselves so that they can achieve that, if they feel that it's them that has to change, and the direction of their desire is towards this connection, that's the rebuilding of the original soul. Because the only thing that broke in the shattering and the falling from that higher state, the only thing that broke was the desire to receive in order to bestow to others. We have to receive. That's our lifeblood. We are creatures. But if the creature is going to be in the image of the Creator, then it has to find a way in its own, even notwithstanding its own nature, to make that connection. The only thing that's broken is the connection. And what do we got here? I want to credit that beautiful video. That was done. It's called "We Are All Connected," and it's music done by Melody Sheep, and you can find that on the web, and you can get all the information about where you can buy that music. We got a new message coming in here, I believe. And this question is, hello. That's a good question, because it's very close to the word holy. Okay. Where are we at now? We're at 9:45, and on the hour, we're going to be going to the third part of the morning lesson from Israel. So I want you to know about that. I also want you to know that after that, we're going to have another live show here called Generation Z, in which you're going to see a whole community interacting. These are sort of advanced students, people who work in this organization, and this organization is only an organization that works in order to bring this connection about between themselves and to then bring that to the world. Today is a special day because we had a huge connection celebration called Unity Day. And maybe some of you took part in that, and perhaps some of you who are newer students don't know about this Connecting for Good, but you're going to hear about it. Connecting for Good is a meeting that happens on the web every Sunday. But today was a special day because what happened was we had people collected in places in New York, in Philadelphia, in San Francisco, in Los Angeles, in Chicago, in Toronto, in Moscow, in St. Petersburg, in Siberia, if you can believe it, in Mexico, in Israel, all over the world. We spent a couple of hours together speaking to each other, reinforcing this desire and receiving this force of a desire to connect from all the friends. The sense of connection is palpable. This is something very important for a new student to understand. This is why we have this channel, so that you can see that it's not just the books. It's not just words and ideas that we need. We need each other because, again, it's a collective. And that's what we work to do, to provide this for each other so that we begin to see this as the reality. It is the reality. Our problem is that we don't see it that way and we don't engage in it that way. There's a question here. Dan is saying, kudos to everybody involved. I'm very fearful that I won't be able to create a strong enough desire to build the perfect prayer that will usher me into spirituality. What can I specifically do here in this world to grow this? The fact that you are worried about it, that's your prayer. Look, there's practical things that we need to do. We need to get out of ourselves. We need to connect to others. We need to do things based on this desire. And then we need to see how well we can or can't do it, because we're going to see that we really can't. And we need to see that because it will build this worry that you've got so that it becomes the primary worry, so that you sort of build your life around its very purpose, which is making this connection. You're on the right track, and the fact that you're here is good too. We have a friend, a very dear friend, who works with us in the Learning Center. And I got to get my Skype up here. He is, this is Hike from Mexico. I see his name. There he is. He's ready to go, right? Yes? Great. Gonna have a little conversation here. And stick him up on the screen. I am calling Hike now, and I think here he comes.
Hey, Tony.
Hey, Hike. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too, Tony. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you? Where are you? What room are you in?
Where am I? In my bedroom.
It looks very neat.
I had to clean before the call.
So everything's under the bed? Is that what the story is?
Exactly, yeah. I'm sitting on top of everything.
Because you don't have a chair, but you got all your... That's great. Hike, you do all kinds of work almost every day of the week for the Learning Center. Tell the friends here what it is that you do, what your work consists of.
What I do, okay. I do the simultaneous translation from English to Spanish. I also translate the texts, all the materials that we're going to be using during the lesson. I translate them, and then I post them. I update the virtual classrooms. I moderate the questions that students send us on our email account. I moderate the forum. What else do I do? I translate books. I'm on a lot of meetings every day, sending emails to students, like reminders, lesson reviews. Basically, that's it.
That's all? That's all?
Yeah. That's,
Why do you do all of that? That sounds like it takes up all of your day.
it pretty much takes up all of my day.
You're a volunteer, right?
Kind of. Kind of. Yeah, I do it because I would like other people to have the opportunity of something that I didn't have back when I started studying for BB. Because I'm a learning center student also, but there was no Spanish learning center back then when I was studying. I studied in English. And I do it because there's a big need for Spanish speakers in this search for spirituality. And then it's just, like giving back of what I have gotten. I would really like people to feel and to discover what I discovered through this journey. So it's just putting it out there for everybody who's looking for it and searching, so that they can discover it in their own language.
It's a beautiful thing. Folks, Hike, he's a very special person and a very special friend. But this quality that you see of his dedication is something that after a while, when a person gets involved, when you put yourself into it, things start to happen in a person, and they begin to actually go through the process that the Kabbalists speak about. It's really a part of your learning, of your development, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I remember back last year when we had an interview also. I remember saying that I look back and I don't really recognize the person that I was before I started studying. It's the more I started getting involved, the more I started changing, and the more the change was like obvious, that I say. That things started working out completely different for me, and
if you could boil it down, what would you say that how would you describe that change?
The change that I went through?
Yeah.
I was the most egotistic, shallow person you can ever think of.
That sounds like fun.
It was fun. I'm not going to say not. It was fun. But fun is overrated also. So it got a little old after a while. All that fun. Well, in fact, it's kind of related to what we were talking about, what the lesson was about, and it's this going out of yourself. I started realizing that the world wasn't spinning around me.
Well, you seem to have, it's not just something that you talk about. I don't think it would be possible for a person to do all that you do, essentially so that other people can receive something that you feel is valuable and that you would like to see in the world, to actually put your money where your mouth is, and I mean your time and your heart and all of your effort. This is not some small change that happens in a person, and it's not like you just did it for a week or something. You've been very constant in all of this work. There's obviously some kind of profound change there.
Yeah, it's been 3 years, almost 4 years now. So it has been a process. It has been fun, also in a different kind of fun as it was before. It has been painful also, but the fun overshadows the pain.
Well, of course, the pain is the thing on which we begin to rise above this pain, and we can't rise without it. I want to thank you for connecting with us. We have to go to a lesson, so I'm going to say goodbye to you now, and I really thank you for doing another wonderful help for us, Ike. Hope to see you soon at the next Congress.
Bye-bye, Tony.
Bye-bye. The morning lesson is the place where we put this all together on a higher level. Now, right now in the morning lesson, we are studying the articles of Rabash. These are articles written by Rav Lightman's teacher, and these articles give us the mechanics of how we are able to actually achieve this connection and this love with each other. And this is the topic of the lesson. This is what we dealt with in the last lesson. Let's prepare for it. Let's listen to this. Let's think about what we want. You can see how beautifully tied together this is with everything that you've been studying today, with everything that we've dealt with here, and with where we're going.
We were sitting in our group in the city of Natzat Eilit, and we talked about a lesson we had here. And my question is, you've described a certain state, not now, on one of the previous lessons, that the Creator is sitting on the one hand, there's a set table with abundances, and we're sitting on the other side, and there's a kind of a concealment. The question is whether that concealment are the others. Of course, exactly. That means love another as thyself. Yes, exactly. The concealment is my ego. I drew it, or... But I'm talking now about the concealment. You said there's a table set with abundances and the Creator conceals himself. You see, the external world, that it seems to me that it's outside of me, but the truth is that it's in my inner world. I see it as external. It conceals the Creator from me, the true reality that's actually entirely inside me. So those are the others, Until I connect the others inside me, I won't have a place to feel spirituality. Because spirituality, it is felt in the kli, in the substance. I need substance, material, matter, like anything else that we feel in a certain place. The desire is called a place. Where is this place in which I can find spirituality? Connect the others to yourself. Start nullifying your ego. Start acknowledging that they're your parts, real parts of your soul. These aren't parts of the body, these are parts of the soul, your soul. You have only a point in your heart. All the rest of the parts of your soul, we have them. Ask. We won't give them. Thank you very much. Forcefully. Forcefully won't help. You'll need him. You'll need him to convince us to give you your parts. Yeah. With my power, I'll connect everyone. Where will you have the strength to do it? The Creator will give? No, that's something else. Then we'll agree.
Was that lesson, of course, that he's referring to is actually from Baal Salam. We're about to go into the morning lesson. I want to thank the people who brought this program to you. I want to thank Tali Shalit, Dina Levin, Ike for calling up and helping us, Yuri Kapanovich on the camera, Dima Graziani, Andy Nastasi, Alexei Resnick, everybody who sent in their questions, and everybody who connected to us and are yet to connect with us.